Right. So in today's class, we're going to be looking at bearing, and we have a few questions to help us to understand that. So the first one reads, the diagram below shows Mr. Mwenda's trip. He travels on a bearing of 141 degrees from A to B. So from A to B, he travels on a bearing of 141 degrees. And he then decides to continue with his trip from B to C, that is on a bearing of 255 degrees. That's on a bearing of 255 degrees. And then they're telling us that the angle BCA is 35 degrees. The angle BCA is 35 degrees. So they're telling us now to find the bearing of A from B. Find the bearing, first find the bearing of A from what? From B. So the key here is to go to where they have said from. So we find the bearing of A from B. So it means we have to be at what? At B. So here at B, I have to draw my what? My north. Of course, in this question, it's already drawn for us. Let me just extend it down like this. So this here is my north. Then the north here, you always start from the north until you touch the required what? The required line. So we're starting from the north of B until we reach the line what? The line A. So meaning we are going from the north there of B until we reach the line what? A, which is this one here. So that is the line what? That is the line A. Okay, so now how are we going to find what is that bearing or what is that angle there? Right, so first of all, angles that are going to be like this, where you have the north here, you have another angle like that, the north there. So these angles, this angle and that angle are said to be allied angles, and allied angles add up to 180 degrees. So these angles add up to 180 degrees. Of course, other things that we must know, the basics are angles on a straight line is 180 degrees. The whole revolution of a circle is what? 360 degrees. Well, these are the basics of what we use to help us in this in finding the bearings. Okay. So what is this going to be here, the whole angle? So I can find, first of all, I can find this angle here because I know that the addition of these two angles is going to give me 180 degrees. So it means that to find this angle, since I already have this one here, the 141, I subtract 180, 180 minus 141 gives me 39. So 180 minus 141 degrees gives me 39 degrees. So this angle here is just 39 what? Degrees. So 39 degrees, the bearing what we want is this whole angle here, the red one. And that there I can find. So I can find by subtracting from what? 360 degrees. Since the whole revolution, you see that when we move from here and get back to the north there, we would have moved 360 degrees. So now subtracting 360 minus the 39 degrees there. So 360 minus the 39 there is going to give me 321 degrees. So 321 degrees is a bearing of A from what? From B. Okay. Now let us do the next one. The next one is find the bearing of A from C. So A from what? From C. So C is here until we what? So at C we have to draw what? Draw our north there. That's our north at C. So we move from the north of C until we touch the line what? A. So we move here up to there like that. So we've touched what? We've touched this line here, which is the part of what? The part of of A. So just like that. Okay, so now how are we going to find this this angle here? How are we going to find this angle there? Okay, so that is so what we do here to find this angle, so we've been given there's a 35 degrees here inside. There's a 35 degrees here, and what we can do is we can find this part. So remember what? 321. So we can find this angle here. So this angle, if we find this angle here, it will help us to find this angle here, which will then help us find the remaining angle there, and help us find the angle that we need. So let's find this angle here. So if we said there from here, okay, so what we said is to move from here up to there. This here is the angle 312 degrees. So meaning to find this angle here that is there, when we subtract the bearing which was given, this the 255 degrees, then we would have found that angle. So we say 312 minus 255 degrees is going to be, so minus 255 degrees, this gives me 66. So it gives me 66. So this angle here inside, okay, let me erase here. This angle here inside is just 66 degrees. So 66 degrees now are 66 and 35. So angles, this is a triangle here, it forms a triangle. So angles in a triangle that up to what? 180 degrees. So meaning I'll add 66 degrees plus what? The angle is 35 degrees plus x, which is this angle here on top, is going to give me what? 180 degrees. So that is going to be 66. I add 66 plus 35 degrees. That gives me 101 degrees plus x is equal to what? 180 degrees. Then I'll have that x is equal to 180 degrees minus what? 101 there. And I have 180 minus 101. That will give me what? 79 degrees. 79 degrees. Okay, now how do we find this angle outside here? So next step is to find that angle, this angle and that add up to 180 degrees. So angle we are looking for. All right, so then this here is just going to be, so we say 141 plus what? The 79. So 141, so plus the 79. 141 plus 79 gives me what? 200 and what? And 20 degrees. So it gives me 220 degrees. So meaning from this north here up to here, up to there, this here, that angle is to what? 220 degrees. So now we can find this angle here by subtracting from what? 360. So we say 360 minus the answer, it gives us what? 140. So it gives us 140. So this angle here is what? Is 140. Okay, I erase this so that we can follow now. So 140. This angle here is 140. If this is 140, meaning I can find this angle because they're allied angles and they add up to 180. So I'll subtract 180 degrees minus the 140 degrees, which gives me 40 degrees. So it means this angle here is what? 40 degrees. That is the bearing from A from C. A is here from C. We go there is just what? Is just 40. And when we add the two, so 40 degrees, so that is going to be, now in terms of the bearing, you're going to write that that is equal to, so A from C is going to be equal to 040 degrees. So you always write three numbers like that. Okay, so that is how we find the bearing of the two. Okay, let's look at another question. So another question here, we have the diagram below shows 3 points O, A, B, in which OB, so OB, this line OB and AB are what? Are equal. So then they're telling us, given that the bearing of A from O, so A from O, this here is 30 degrees, and the angle ABO is 40 degrees. Calculate the bearing of B from A. So we're calculating the bearing of B from what? From A. So we have to go to what? To A. So where is A? A is here, like that. So I draw my north here, like that. So there is my north. And then I have to go from the north there of A until I touch the line what? The line B there. Okay. So until I touch what? I touch that line. So what is that what? What is that angle there? So what is the angle which I'm looking for there? Okay, so to find the angle there, we'll say, okay, I can find this angle here, like that. Can find this angle here, and then in turn, after angle there, okay, so let us see. We use this, we find this angle, and we find what? The other angle here. Okay, and then we have, let me also draw my north here, like that. So we find this, that angle there, and then we find the angle which is outside here. Okay, and that will help us find the rest of what? The angle there. So let us do that. So in order to do that, they've said this side and this side are equal. It means that if the two sides are equal, meaning these two angles here inside are going to be what? Are going to be equal. So meaning that since angles in a triangle that are up to 180 degrees, I have 40 degrees plus what? 2x is equal to what? 180 degrees. Since the two angles are equal, then you have 2x is equal to 180 degrees minus what? 40 degrees. Then 2x is equal to 140 divided by 2 divided by 2. Then I get x is equal to what? 70 degrees. So that angle and that angle there are what? 70 degrees. Okay, so since I have a 30 here, so this angle 70, that angle 70 degrees. Okay, since I have 30 there, and okay, having a 30 there means I can find what? This angle here. So this angle here, I can find it. So this and that, the 30 and this angle are allied angles. So they add up to 180. So 180 minus my 30 degrees, I'm going to have, so 180 minus 30 degrees, that's going to give me 150. So it means this angle here is what? 150 degrees. So now, what am I gonna do? So I have 150 degrees and I have 70 degrees here. So I can add the two and then subtract from what? 360 to get that angle that remains. So I'm going to say 150 degrees plus 70 degrees plus, let's say the angle there, I was just saying it, x degrees is equal, should be equal to 300 and what? 60 degrees. Because the red part, green part, and the blue part, they make up a circle all together, and that is adding up to what? That is a full revolution is 360 degrees. So I have 150 plus 70, that is going to, when I add that's 220 degrees plus x is equal to 360 degrees. I get, take the what there, 220 the other side, and this gives me, so I subtract 360 minus the 220 gives me 140 here. So I get 140 degrees. So the bearing here, the bearing or the angle there is 40 degrees. So the bearing of A from B is just 140. So this gives us 140 degrees. Okay, let us do the next one. So the next one here is saying bearing of A from B. I mean O from B, O from B. So O is there, B is there. So I go here at B and then I draw my what? My north. So meaning from the north of B to O, which is there like that, I must what? Find this angle. So remember that we found this angle here, and that angle from here to there is 140 degrees. So we use the 140, this angle here, and so, and this angle here, there is going to be adding up to 180 because they are what? Allied angles. So I subtract 180 degrees minus 140 degrees. This just gives me a 40. So 40 degrees. So meaning this here is what? Is 40 degrees. So I have 40 degrees plus 40 degrees. I just add the two. So the 40 plus the what? The 40 gives me 80 degrees. So To get the rest of the remaining, it means I just subtract 360 degrees minus 80 what? Degrees. So 360 minus 80 degrees, that there is going to give me 280 degrees. So the bearing of O from B is just 280 degrees. Okay. Don't know if there's any question. All right, so we do the next one. So the next one is here. And then here we have, it's telling us in the following diagram, A, B, C are 3 points on a level ground. So A is due north of what? Of C. So A is due north of what? Of C. And then they're telling us that the angle, so meaning that the north of C and that of what? Of A is the what? Is the same. And then we have that ABC, A, B, C, the angle there at B is just 50 degrees. And then AC, B is what? 60 degrees. Find the bearing of A from what? From B. A from B. So A from B. So it means I go where there's from, that is B. So I go at B and I draw my north here at B. So I start from there until I touch the what? The line A, which is there like that. Okay, so that's what I want. That's what I get. So what is going to be my what? My answer for this one. What is going to be my answer? Okay, so you see that when we extend here, so like that, here like that, from here, from the north up to this point, this here where I've put in green, that is 100 and what? 80 degrees. That's 180 degrees. Then we see that from here, we have the 60 here. It goes up to like that and down. So let me use blue. From here up to there like that and there. So there's a Z that is formed. So meaning this angle and that angle here are alternating angles, meaning they are equal. So I have a 60 degrees here. So meaning to get what I want, I just add the 180, the 60, and the 50, and that is my answer. So 50 degrees plus 60 plus 180 degrees there, that gives me 2 degrees. So the bearing that I want is what? 290 degrees. Okay, so let's look at, is there another way maybe we could have used to find this? Okay, we could have used another way, that is finding this angle first here. So let's find that angle here. So that angle, we have the 50 plus what? Plus, so to find, since it's a triangle, let me erase C. Okay, so what we are finding is the bearing north here, the bearing from there up to there. So this here, we have a triangle, we have a 60 and a 50, so you can find that angle there. So we have 50 degrees plus 60 degrees plus x is equal to what? 180, it being a triangle. Then I have, what is my 50 plus 60 gives me 110. So I have 110 degrees plus x is equal to 180 degrees. Then I have x is equal to 180 10. So 180 minus 110, that is equal to what? 70 degrees. So this angle here is 70 degrees. So it being 70 degrees, I can find this other upper part here, because when I add the two, that is on a straight line, and that is what adding up to 180. So I say the 180 minus the 70 is going to give me what? 100 and what? And 10. So 110, this angle here and that angle are allied, so they add up to 180. So I say 180 again minus the 110, which gives me what? The 70 degrees. Then 70 degrees now, the one in green, since this whole thing will add up to what, 360, I'll just say 360 minus the what, the 70 degrees, which just gives me also 290. So you could have used even this second what method for you to find that. But I'm sure it was easier and shorter in the first method that we used. Okay, let us find the next one. So the next one is the bearing of B from A. So B from A, B from A. So you're saying from, that is A, and you go draw your north. Okay, so the north is already drawn for us, and they're telling us to find the angle here until we reach B. So that angle there. And of course, from the way we were calculating, I think we've already found what? We've already found that angle. So we said at first that this here, that is 180 degrees, that there is 60 degrees. When we add from here, the 180, 60, and the 50, that gave us 290 what? Degrees. 160, what is that? So we see degrees minus 290 degrees. This here is going to give us 70 degrees. 70 degrees. This and that angle are allied angles, so they add up to 180. So I say 180 minus 180 degrees minus 70 degrees is going to give me 180 minus 170 degrees. This gives me 100 and what? 110. So the bearing of A from B is just 100 and what? And 10. So that is how we calculate that. Well, if you're new, remember to subscribe, and we see you in the next class.